हेलो सतीश।
क्या है पुनीत जी? थोड़ा सा
या
और वेट कर लीजिए, माइट भी बच्चे अभी तक आए नहीं है।
हाँ, उनको बोल दीजिए कि
मैंने
अच्छा।
बोल तो दिया है, ग्रुप पे डाल दिया, आज ऑफ भी है ना। एंड
हाँ,
बच्चे
ओके,
इतने
राइट।
सिंसियर नहीं होते, कंप्लेन करने के लिए कर लेते हैं बट काम टाइम पे ज्वाइन नहीं करना है।
हम्म।
ठीक है, फिर भी मैं रिमाइंड कर रहा हूँ इनको। ठीक है।
हाँ, प्लीज प्लीज। I think this is going to be an interesting session for them. A lot of guidance they will get from this topic, how to navigate. So you can stress that. Hello, Shubham. Hello, Vishal. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for joining.
Puneet sir, I have to wait for 2-3 minutes. We are
Sure.
also circulating this information. So by 3:10, you will start it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. That's perfectly fine.
And
Thank you, sir.
Vishal, if you have any friend reference, na, you can ask to join because they many of them are having query about the session.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting sessions because a very recent and new topic, emergent topic. I believe many people can get benefit and a lot of career guidance. Um, so it's good if they can join. Please ask them. Shubham, Vishal, do you think you can request other members, other participants, so that they can join?
Yes, sir. Please wait.
Okay, please do that. Thank you.
Puneet ji, you may start now. Meanwhile, I'll coordinate with the students so that they can join. आप start कर दीजिए. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Satish. So, all right, I think we are good, and I hope you can see my screen as well. Um, can can you just confirm if you can see the slide presentation?
Yes, it's all good, and the sound is also okay. You may
Perfect,
proceed.
perfect, perfect. Let me bring my pen so that we can have a very interactive sessions. So, yeah, this session is very, very important and very relatively new in terms of the AI um, space. And when we talk about AI in life sciences, it becomes even more niche and space, niche and recent. Now, the point is when we are talking everywhere about AI everywhere, it's like AI, and we'll see those things coming in, how the trustworthiness and responsibility of the AI will come into picture. Yeah, we can keep on building new and new stuff, but who is taking the responsibility ultimate? It's AI is also not like that you just build it once and leave it forever. It will continue working the way it is. As soon as the data are getting updated, and there is a phenomena called model drift, which happens and deteriorates the overall quality of the output predictions over the period of time. So things are changing, diseases are changing. Same model cannot work always, all the time. It needs always improvement, human oversight, and therefore there's a lot of requirement of seeing AI in a very, in a very different perspective. From the responsibility, ethics, and trustworthiness, security, data security is also getting very prominently important here, because AI is where the data is highly utilized, consumed, processed, and stored in terms of model weights, etc. So in these specific sessions, we will cover couple of and very interesting parts and ethics and responsible AI in healthcare and pharma. Both in healthcare and pharma, things are slightly different, and that's why different regulations, different concern, different gravity of problems have been observed, and you see in the case study in the at the end of the slides. There are data privacy, security, and tools for ethical AI, and that's why the framework, the governance model, the companies are building. So, if you see major companies like Infosys, Accenture, IBM, Google, Microsoft, right? You just name the company, and they are all concerned with the way the AI is moving, and that's why they are very much also concerned about how it has to be uh, taken care of in terms of its predictions, in terms of its quality over the period of time, and inherent data issues. For example, the concept of generative AI, where you can type any question, you get the answer, and it becomes even critical when somebody asks, I need to hack somebody's data. I need to know what are the emails of, say, Puneet, who is working here and here. And then it may start producing you the results, which is a completely data breach issues it can cause. So once the systems are open and they are available to mass population, a public, you have no control. So the point is that you people are concerned, the companies are concerned that when we are launching any such systems, it has to be very strong in terms of data protection and the quality of the output. That's why there are so many frameworks and laws and regulations, and the compliances are being enforced globally across the borders, and that's why the things are we are discussing it now. That's why it's a hot topic and we are discussing now. You can understand the gravity of it. Okay. Okay, AI ubiquitous is everywhere, right? I'm just giving you a very smart, simple um, description of where in healthcare and pharma, in bioinformatics, medical research, environment, agriculture, all the places AI is touching the lives. AI is, rising, is penetrating into the very, very niche areas people generally consider, oh, why in agriculture you will be using machine learning? Is it really true? Yes, it's very true. The way it is impacting, analyzing the capability it has. There's a lot many opportunities which are still untapped and people are looking into it. For example, if you see healthcare and pharmaceuticals, drug discovery and development, will see in little detail where all AI is taking place, and that's why where the concerns are coming into picture. The personalized medicine, you will see why we are talking about so much of variations coming into or so many methods are getting developed and applied into the medicine and the pharma because of its critical nature of analyzing large data sets, understanding pattern, and and giving you very quick and very insightful results in diagnostic and imaging and manufacturing, all the places throughout the value chain of a pharmaceutical company, which starts from the early discovery and conception, or maybe the disease modeling, where the disease is going to happen, when it is going to happen, what could be the possible endemic coming in the coming days. Right from there till the marketing, everywhere in the marketing also you see they are very targeted audience uh, which marketing people created, and there's a very specific cohort people target a specific marketing campaign to. So that's in the healthcare and pharmaceutical. In bioinformatics, right from the structure prediction to compound generation, interaction, repurposing, target identifications, are very, very hot areas of where the AI is also touching into. In some cases, certainly, if you see in bioinformatics, there may not be too much of issues related to personal data. Maybe at some cases, because it's a genomics data also involved in it, but just keeping that by side is not that. But in healthcare, this is very, very, very prominent, and you have to have very strong regulation and stringent governance has to applied into the system. Likewise, in manufacturing, if you are controlling the quality of the medicine or injectables, and this is getting passed through the manual QC, but now instead of manual QC, which is now a AI-based sensor, which is understanding, oh, if there is any turbidity, is there any infection, is a molecule which is the medicine which has the potential of quality compromise, um, substandard quality, then the batch should be rejected. But if there is a sensor failure, if it is not recognizing in a right way, then it can lead to disaster when it is marketed and giving injection to the patient. So implications are very, very critical, and it has to seen a very case by case basis, not like you applied the same set of rules you applied in bioinformatics, cheminformatics should also be applied healthcare. It's not like that. The rules of oil and gas cannot be applied on same way to the aviation industry, because both the industries requires a separate different compliances and the demands, and that's where the pharmaceutical healthcare also set together with agricultural environment and the other bioinformatics research. In diagnostic also, it's a very different field. Pathology, image analysis, a lot of data, a lot of models available, predictive analytics on disease progression. some are some are maybe lower in terms of direct impact on the end customers or patients, but some are having a very, very direct impact. For example, pathology image analysis. Somebody is not having, say, not having the say coronavirus, COVID, but it is being said that it's a COVID or a pneumonia or any other, SARS. That's a big decision that will decide the medicine, prescription medicine, and the doses accordingly, or the gravity of the infection, which is misclassified here. So that's why. In environment also, likewise, there are disease surveillance, epidemic, predictions, genetic studies, many things are coming here. In agriculture also, you say crop monitoring. Even in the crop also, we are improving the crops through genomics data analysis, and a new variety of rice is coming in. So there's a lot of things happening here, okay, which is good. Um, coming to the important aspect, if you drill down a specific section, and that becomes the basis of today's discussion also, that AI is everywhere. But if you see in the drug discovery, and we'll look into the concern related to the ethics or ethical practices, it starts from, it's a very typical drug discovery pipeline. I'm sure you have covered this into this particular, multi-day sessions, giving you a specific general highlight that you start with the disease and the target identification, Then you develop the compound over the period of time, you test the compound, you optimize the compound, you test in animals, then you go to the clinical phases, 1, 2, 3, and then you have the final marketing approval, etc., into the market. All the places it has the AI role. If you see, this all has the AI role in different phases. The gravity of AI, I mean, the predictions, the quality, everything is also dependent on the kind of data and the quality of data you supply in. It's like junk in, junk out. I mean, if the data does not make sense, then the output will also may look sensible to you, but it's completely maybe not sensible. It's giving a wrong predictions. Um, a- and and if you say in target identification, we're just talking about target. There's no specific patient data, but if it is coming to a very customized level of patient, then it has to be a very sensitive matter altogether. An important aspect here, if you see the compound generation and the screening, compound libraries, designing compound library, identify novel targets. If you are, say, designing compounds, and then people say it's a AI generated compound. If AI generated compound eventually gets the approval, final approval, and if it doesn't work the way it has to work, who will be responsible? Another thing is when you generate the compound through AI method, who will get the patent? The machine will get the patent, or you will get the patent, or the company will get the patent. The patent agency will also say that the compound was generated by machine. Why are you filing the patent? So who will get the right? Maybe you run the code, machine generated, and then people say, okay, because I have generated the code, I should get it. And then in that case, if AI generated molecule doesn't work, whether the case has to be filed against the machine or against the person who is accountable for generation of that. So there are a lot many implication, ethical issues in terms of AI in drug discovery. Similarly, for healthcare as well. If the image analysis does the wrong prediction, a tuberculosis patient is labeled as healthy patient, non-tuberculosis one, or misclassified as say pneumonia or any other symptom, SARS or COVID, who should take the blame of it? It's a clinician, it's a person who has built the machine, who built the software, deployed the software, who tested it, who has provided you the report, who will be responsible for it. Now, with that scenarios coming into the mind, government has said, okay, look, this is going out of our control. If we do not take any action, it's important we should work now, act now, and understand the responsibility, define the clear framework of responsibilities, where at which places you can really deploy AI and how the AI can really be assured as a trustworthy human companion in terms of your everyday life. So there are ethical concerns, right? Model transparency, for example, in compound generation, IP and data ownership, who will own it, and risk for black box decision. Black box is something which is very, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know it. The machine learning prediction is like a black box. You give your input, it produces the output, but you don't know why this output has come at. Why? The question is why this? Why SARS? Why not tuberculosis? If you have that explainability in mind, if you know that these are possible explanation of this output, then you will trust, you will increase the trust, you will have more reliance on this machine, saying that yes, this machine is not a black box, it's not questionable. It is providing you the explanation to the output, which makes sense, right? So that's a purpose of this whole system, which is the framework which is being built in. Let me take a pause if you have any questions. All right. I take it you all understood it. That's fine. Let me go next. Now the obvious question coming is this just a large amount of data which is making the AI is transforming the medical science and the pharma? Is it just the part of this is just a part of this part, or is something else as well, right? So there are many things, but there are certainly few things which are more and more critical, more important. One is we should understand that in medical and in pharma, things are getting complex. The diseases are not the same set of diseases, or no, they are not that straightforward and simple, which they used to happen 100 years ago. Things are very, very complex. Diseases are complex. Their bypassing mechanism, the natural way of bypassing, it's very, 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 very intelligent. We are also very intelligent compared to the as the humans are intelligent. Um, you see the examples of bacteria bypassing the mechanism, bypassing the bacteriophage, right? That's how the CRISPR technology has been developed. Very intelligent mechanism, right? Very, very intelligent mechanism. We are all learning from them. The same way, AI is also coming into in our life because important is because the data and the medical patterns are getting complex. So we wanted to have AI because we can quickly analyze complex medical patterns, a complex diseases, a target identification, huge amount of data. You take genomics data, you take laboratory data, you take food habits data, demographics data, and you see um, there are connections, cross connections, expressions, up regulation, down regulation, disease without disease, with disease, with food, without food, so many combinations. In such cases, we try to identify which specific targets, which precisely where we should target so that we can cure a disease, right? So data is complex. That's why it is getting beyond human imagination, human capacity to analyze large amount of the tremendous amount of data, and then provides a solution to it. So AI is for complex medical pattern, which that's why we are introducing, right? That's why it is getting more penetration or more, rising in the cloud. You can see here. The second is the scalable medical excellence. We are living in a country where our medical facilities still lacks in villages and towns and tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. Consider that the person sitting, the medical clinician sittings at a very primary healthcare centers, and how many patients you think he can take in a day? And compared to the global burden, compared to the national burden of a disease, everybody wants to see a really expert doctor, but is it possible for an expert to see all the patients in a day? It's not possible. Can we clone that person? There is not so much mechanism available as of now, but at least to some extent, we can clone the medical decision making of that person. That's a overall quality here. That's a scalability we are trying to achieve here. But that scalability, of course, comes with so many questions, and we will be discussing it. So if we can really scale consider the medical supremacy in terms of excellence, medical excellence, then machine learning can be a very great choice. I mean, absolutely amazing choice. It can reach as quickly as to millions of people, thousands of settings, hospital settings, and people start taking the benefit of all those great innovations. Third is powering personalization. As soon as you see the medications and medicines are getting at personalized level, you have seen the recent example of a rare disease. A infant got corrected. The erroneous gene got corrected due to gene editing technology. So, do you think that this is possible really, because in the age of AI, it's getting important. You can do for one kid, two kids, right? Maybe 10 kids, 50 kids in certain amount of time. But how would you further scale that thing? If you have the algorithm which is led by machine learning and does as accurate as a human or an expert can do that, certainly that can really scale so well, and it can really do the personalized level medication or medicine for so many rare disease patients for which there is nobody's taking care. I mean, there are very less companies who are taking the rare diseases, and because of the business model, the lot of cost, but still there are a lot of very less number of patients. So how they will recover the cost? This could be one model for that. Another is smarter, faster drug development. So drug development doesn't accelerate as we speak that, okay, introduce AI, it will, no, it's not like that. You really need to go to every single piece of the drug development process and see where exactly the lengthy process can be cut short, can be done quickly with the help of AI and generative AI or any other advanced AI methods, right? So that's the thing. Reducing clinical burnout. So many automating tasks, repeated tasks can be automated, and the clinician workload can be reduced on those operational costs, and and they can really focus on their work on medical work other than the documentation. And in clinical trial, there's a lot of documentation. If some of those can be really done by automatically with the help of AI agents, then certainly why not? It can really improve the overall efficiency, reduce the burnout, and bring more efficiency into the system. Let me take a pause if you have any questions. I think someone has joined, so welcome. I can't see you, but welcome to the session. All right, having said that, there are so many things which are where the AI is developing, where the AI is nurturing, where AI is penetrating into the system. But it comes with a pinch of salt. I would say more than a pinch of salt. It has to be very carefully drafted, very carefully drafted. There are many cases where AI has been seen not doing or doing something which is not in line of the expectations, and people have identified it. The way, look, what is going on here? It's something fishy. There is something fishy. There is not something which is as transparent as should be, right? So there are three examples. I think you have heard about the Amazon Scrap, the secret AI recruiting engine, which was very much against the women because the model they developed, it was having a training data set, which is mostly the male candidates. So since the model was trained on male dominating data set, the new data set where the same credentials, but the woman is coming for the recruitment, she was getting rejected. And that's because it was not at that time, it was not the framework, the governance model was formally in place, and people were not knowing that this could be the possible harmful side effects of the AI models. And say 2018 news, right? Not too long and not too far. The another one is in 2020, which is a very remarkable study on the racial biasness of the pulse oximetry measurements. Pulse oximeter, everybody use it, right? In COVID, the sale for pulse oximeter was really, really high, and as was like selling like anything. It's a very, very simple yet very critical aspect, because the oxygen supply is very fundamental. It's very frequently used medication into the hospital settings, especially you see in ICU, ventilator, etc. Right? So that's a big problem that people have identified. What was the racial biasness? We'll come to that point in the case of, we have chosen this as a case study as well. The other one, which was dissecting racial bias in an algorithm used to manage health of the population in US. So people who were like getting or required some more intensive checks based on their current health progression, algorithm used to recommend them, okay, you should go and visit to the doctor, because as per your daily routine and your vitals, seems like you need a checkup, you need a thing, right? You need a clinical investigations. But that was underperforming for black patients, those who have a darker skin. Even though they have a same level of severity coming on their way, they were they were triggered, they were alarmed less compared to the white population or native population. So that was a big, because this algorithm used to be deployed in the whole of the America, and this thousands, millions of people were using it, and they were under this enrollment program. So there are many issues and major grave outcomes if remains unnoticed, unalarmed, unrecognized, not treated properly into the system. Then it can be a disaster to the human life also. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Okay, we said that yes, there are issues, there are challenges, but what are those challenges? You can say that. Why, Puneet? We said that there are racial biasness in oximetry measurement. There was related to recruitment problems. There was again racial biasness in the health outcomes, potential health hazards, health issues coming on their way. But are there only these two, three things which are having a problem with the AI systems? No, actually not. There are many and much more issues. And why these issues are coming? Because certainly garbage in, garbage out. The data is inappropriate. It was not balanced. It was skewed. It was not having right measurements from certain group of the cohorts or certain set of people, or a set of entities. That's why the outcomes were not proper. So if you see the medical AI development stage, just like if we are talking about training data, we have three, four categories as well. If you talk about training data related issues, you have seen possibly there's a lot of imbalance in the sample size, right? You are talking about maybe 1,000 male members and 200 female members, right? That's not correct. If the sample is not properly distributed, if it is not, you know, represents everybody in the right fashion, your outcome may be biased for certain specific categories or the race. Um, so training data is often overrepresented for non-Hispanic and Caucasian patients. If you see, many of the clinical trials are happening, they have a certain specific people, and that's why the requirement, like if you have to launch your drug into, say, Indian in India, then you have to take our population into account. Otherwise, it may not work in India, because just because it works, the science works very well for, say, America, and it's not necessary it will work for Indians as well. So training data sets often overrepresent the non-Hispanic. That's a thing. Worse performance, algorithm underestimation of underrepresented group. Because you provide less evidences for certain specific population, it means the pattern ratio of the pattern will also go less into the training model, and that's why it may not be able to uh, comprehensively understand the possible share of that specific aspect into the system. But the good thing is that it can be, mitigated. The bias can be mitigated. The only thing is, what is important, we should know that this can happen. If our data set is like this, it can create a system which is biased. Understanding of this part is super critical. Understanding of the mitigation plan is a good news. Having this means you can rectify, you can repair, you can correct it, you can better, you can design the system which is unbiased, right? Transparent Transparency during design, right? Responsible design principles, we'll talk about those. Characterize data set patient, socio-demographics, methods for imbalanced data, oversampling, data augmentation. You augment the data, you oversample the data. So if you need 2,000 patient, but you are getting only 200 women, uh, you just take maybe 3,000, 4,000 patient sample, and then take 600 or 700 or 800 or 400 women, and then equal proportion, or this right set of proportion, I would say, for the main members, right? Cult, Cultivation of large diverse data set. Okay. Non-randomly missing patient data. Yeah, you see, there is a lot of data. When we go to the hospitals, they say, oh, yeah, these are optional fields. You can fill, you cannot fill, because that person may not be knowing that how these fields may be utilized. We understand that the optional field may be email, phone number, that can be bypassed. There's not requirement because they are not decision maker. How come in email ID pattern be related to a person disease, right? It makes no sense. It has no relation at all. It's just like two completely different things. But in case people are talking about, say, your somebody's socioeconomic background, it may be related to a certain specific diseases. For example, this low-income group may face diseases which are related to low in nutrition. For example, I'm giving that just an example. Right, there is quite possibility. A vitamin deficiency could be a possibilities there. So those things may be required. Sometimes they are missing, sometimes we don't feel it. Sometimes the person who is taking the sample does not understand the overall end objective of this study or survey. That's why the data is incomplete. Sometimes the data are recorded in terms of digital platforms, and we avoid certain feeds to fill in. That does not completely serve the purpose of the data being captured. So many times randomly data is missing, and it can relate to be a low socioeconomic patients which may not be having all the information for that particular survey or the data. For example, electronic health record. The government of India launched a Digital Bharat Health Mission, right? And you can also have your digital health ID. I also have the digital health ID. But how many of you have filled that? If I ask these questions, you may say that, yeah, I have not filled it. I'm just speculating because based on my understanding, not many people have enrolled it. Even if they have enrolled it, they are not using it because the system is not in place as of now. Now, this becomes even more grave when you go to a different socio-economic background. People who are discussing the challenges of AI and biasness in the medical decisions, I believe they are from a certain specific socio-economic background. Imagine the other set of the people who are just struggling for their regular livelihood, right? Every day they are earning and living. Can we expect that they have done their health digital health card and they are filling the information which is to be filled in English and to be filled by someone with lot of login OTP and other things? I mean, this is a wrong assumption, completely a wrong assumption. So my point is that many times in the data you see a lot of missing values, and because of that you either need to impute those values. The imputation means you fill the values based on the trend of those values, which may not always be correct and depends on how much imputation you do. If there is a 50% data which has missing value, for example, on an average, the 50% makes no sense of imputation. I mean, you can do that, you can still build the model, but with the imputed more data set, what kind of prediction you will be doing, right? So uh, that has the judgment has to be taken. So good quality is a very critical aspect of a good AI model. Improve data collection methods. Maybe the person who is taking the data has to be more aware about the overall end outcomes. You ask for the digital diary or digital survey so that people cannot fill random information, or people cannot avoid certain information just because it is a mandatory field. You provide the assistance for the person so that they can fill all the information. For example, there are all the things which are required to be filled in a survey is written in the electronic health record or health record, which is a file present with the patient. But the patient does not have that much of patience because he wanted to rush for the home so that they can, the caregiver can take care of that person. And at that time, if you ask for the survey and other things, they may feel, I mean, why do we need to fill it? My point is that if you provide that assistant to the person that, okay, with all your consent, can I see your files and fill this information? This survey is super critical for developing similar, to help similar patients in the future through machine learning. If they agree, you do that, you do that assistance, right? So improve the quality of data gathering, but it requires, you see how much of information, how much of skill development, how much of competency it is required. The person who is sitting for the filling the form should understand the end outcome, should understand AI to some extent, should speak in a way to the patient and the caregiver so that they agree for building this, for providing their graciously they provide the data, and then you fill it rightly. Well, a lot of things are required. Data not usually or easily captured, right? It's also, you just give the form and say, oh, I need this one. Can you do it for, ask your friend. So if you are taking a survey on risk of cancer patients and you are asking a set of people which are either already already into the category of cancer patients, or they are less healthy volunteer which have a very diverse food habit, or you are building in country level or national model, but you are taking only the data from, say, a specific zone or a specific demographic, it doesn't make sense, right? Data has to be captured properly, completely, exhaustively, in a in a diverse, in a diverse field, in a diverse the diversity of data should also be optimum. Bias in data labels and misclassification. People say, yeah, um, I had my breakfast, though they had not taken it. They are giving the blood sugar, but yeah, I had taken it already. So I mean, people should also understand that this data is important, right? Many times people do not, participate in a very fair fashion, right? So fairness is also important, and everybody of us should contribute that way. Race and ethnicity, you have seen the example, two critical example, and we'll see the case study also in clinical algorithm has a major thing. So socioeconomic description, and you see people apply proxy, you can avoid that, cultural competency in training. So there's a lot of things. Point is that if you are building a trustworthy and responsible AI, you should focus on training data a lot. Even when you are sitting in a conference room where 10 people are others who are building the models, and you are just one of those who are providing as SME support, you should raise your voice saying that how are you collecting the data? Because you understand the RAI, you understand the responsibility of the AI part. Take your seat as a RAI responsible person, RAI practitioner, and then raise such questions to the other people so that they get more awareness, they get more cognizant about for each and every step they tackle and consider in their system. It should be responsible by design. By design, your data capturing, data processing, data storage, model building, model deployment should be as per the practice of responsible AI. Make sense? Right? Please stop me if you have any questions. Okay. Now, the second part in this is model development and evaluation. Over reliance on whole cohort performance metrics is something which always trigger the biasness or issue. So you only evaluate and optimize the whole cohort, and if that comes under the consideration, the model may not work. Model may be biased, may become biased with the system. Uh, Potential consequences: model will learn good predictions for well represented patient groups, but perform much worse in the underrepresented patient groups, right? For example, you have 5 different variety of oncology patients, and out of them one oncology set of one cohort of oncology indications, they are very less in numbers. So the outcome is more likely the others type of outcome, more classification issues come into picture. So subgroup analysis has to be done, right? Bi-centered optimization metrics. There are a lot of matrices, etc. Statistical debiasing method, model interpretability method. So many things happens, but important aspect is, yes, in the model building we need to be very careful. In publications, when medical AI models are developed and published, and by whom, many times they are also published in, say, in 50% of the data, published data is either coming from US or China. So So over-representation of a specific population or a priority or a viewpoint can be biased into your system. Everybody in US and China saying, yeah, there's a larger number of this kind of patients coming in, this can be epidemic, etc., etc. But it may not be working for you because their data set is very, very focused for certain specific type of country, not for example, for India. Just an example. AI results is maybe biased for some positive results in certain medical domains, right? Radiological papers accounted over 40% AI publication. And many times, like, yeah, it is doing very good in prediction, in identification of specific cancer and disease, etc. But it has to be very, you know, openly thought and openly discuss, critically discuss in all dimensions to understand that that's the narrative which is present is really, really good. Okay. And should be diversely saying. Some people say that, okay, random forest is working very good for this kind of patients. Maybe that specific set of patients attributes is working really good for random forest, but not for the attributes that you have in your data set. Again, under for the model implementations, so sample selection biased, right? Real world patients differ from training cohort. Just like a clinical trial, if you understand in clinical trial, what happens? In clinical trials, you take selected set of patients, right? Select a set of patients. Say you have taken, say, 100 patients in a specific trial. And what are those? They are generally considered kind of the representation of a bigger population. The bigger Earth population, they are the representative set, right? And what you do, you in clinical trials, you capture the adverse event. But there's a term called pharmacovigilance also exists. Pharmacovigilance. Why pharmacovigilance exists? Because regulatory agency says, yeah, you have taken a representative set, but again, they are the just representative. The adverse event that you have identified, they are only captured in 100 patients. But once the medicine will go out, and when this specific set of millions of people will take it, your adverse events list may be very long, very, very long list. For that, you need to again tell me what are the adverse events are being captured. Pharmacovigilance. The same way, you are taking a very representative data set for model implementation, model building, sample selection, right? It may not actually represent the diversity and the variety and the representation from the whole set of word that where you are trying to implement this model for. So in such cases, just take a very real example of you say in clinical trial, which actually happens all over the world and getting enforced everywhere. The same goes well with AI and machine learning as well. It's it's as simple as that. You are just taking the representative. It's not, there is no guarantee that this is the only set which will does the which will really truly present the whole world. And end user biases also, right? People, it's like a placebo effect also, kind of a placebo effect. um if you give the physicians follow the AI recommendation of certain patients but override it for others, it becomes a problem, right? So some biases from the clinician side of it. Clinicians say, yeah, this patient is getting um, report saying that this kind of infection is there and should be cefixime antibiotic should be prescribed. But no, I do not think that. It may be they have their own biases also, right? So infrastructure for continuous quantitative and qualitative feedback. It's a thing, regular retraining, the model updates. Every time things are changing, there's a model drift called mechanism, model drift, which will be a phenomena called model drift, which will further reduce the overall prediction, quality of the ML models. It has to be retrained and retrained all the time based on new data, and the accuracy and other things quality has to be checked on routine basis. And interpretable AI for clinician trust and adoption should also be there, right? So this completes the challenges. Let me know if you understand the challenges and the gravity of those challenges in the responsible and ethical AI. Any questions? Do you see that this is a really big problem and people should know about it? It's not, I mean, I highly respect those AI data scientists who also understand responsible AI very well, because they take caution in each and every step, and that gives them the very holistic view of, perspective of how it has to be, how it has to be done, how it has to be done. All right, if no more questions, can we move forward? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. So people said that, yeah, this is good. We understand there are so many challenges. I understand there are so many challenges, so many biases. What should we do? What should we really do? So government came into the picture, and other regulatory bodies and other companies also came into the picture, saying that, look, if we do not intervene, if we do not build things, this will really go beyond our control, and it may have a very detrimental consequences on the human health, specifically when we are talking about healthcare and pharma. So there are many regulations, compliances are enforced, and they're now taking the shape of laws and act. Initially, there was like, okay, they are, recommendation you should do, not a part of a regular routine check. Then it becomes a compliance that you have to do it. But now it's like a law. If you don't do that, according to this, you will be heavily penalized. You have to have an acknowledgement doing in a right way. One is HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It is available for the United States. And in every sectorial, in every country, they have their own key regulations. In India also, we have certain regulations. DPDP Act, for example, AI Act, other things are coming in. But some countries have been very pioneer. Some companies have taken the lead, and since they have started early first, their regulations and laws are very, very kind of famous and being enforced heavily across, kind of applicable across the globe. So HIPAA is one of them. It takes care of the related to the protected uh, um, health data or protected health information, which is PHI information, which says that you need to regulate the use of sharing the PHI information. This applies to the healthcare providers, insurance, and partners. It requires security measures for electronic PHI data, grants patient access and control over their healthcare data. If you say that my data is with you, I want you to delete my data, they should delete it. They will inform you, mandatory breach notification. If there is any leakages of data, they should inform you that your data has been leaked. And we recommend you to change password, etc. Do not respond to calls and threats, etc., so that people can take informed decisions, because of very sensitive data. Healthcare data is a very sensitive data, right? You understand. GDPR is a very, very prominent, highly regarded, and applied globally in terms of data protection. General data protection regulations from European Union, extremely important across the globe. Applies to any organization handling the European citizen data. It has a major global impact. Requires lawful processing and explicit consent. If you are taking their data, you have to have the consent in hand. You grants the right like access, erasure, and portability of the data. Enforces privacy by design and default. High penalties for violations. There's a key points for this. You should understand the GDPR. EU AI Act is another very landmark. Recently, I mean, in last 1 year, it has been came into the full force and developed in European Union. First, very comprehensive EU AI Act, which classifies AI system based on risk levels. First time, it's a risk levels. Strict rules for high risk medical diagnostics. Hmm? Enforces transparency and human oversight. Human oversight means people should be there before taking final decisions. You cannot take a decision directly from the AI, right? Sets technical documentation and auditability standards, enable enforcement through national authorities. It's very complicated, very uh, exhaustive, and I strongly believe that understanding these three to you can really change your perspective, how you see the data, how you process the data, how you know and understand AI and implement AI for your work. Any questions so far? Please note that even if you are working from India, we work many times for US and EU clients. And if you really want to go to a global companies, they will ask you questions on these. Do you understand it or not? If you are going for responsible AI practitioner related job openings, they may ask you a little bit more detail about EU AI Act, GDPR, HIPAA, and other things. And it will give you an edge in your interview that yes, you not only understand, you also realize the gravity of AI and how it should be treated and taken care of while it is being developed. Hmm? All right. Let's take the EU AI. Since it's a very comprehensive one, let's go little deeper into it because it's super critical in terms of how you take in the AI into your system. It has these classes. One is risk-based approach, basically unacceptable risk. That's the first one. They will not accept any risk for this if it is related to EU's fundamental rights. If your AI is violating European Union's or Europeans' fundamental right, your AI is absolutely not acceptable. Hmm? High risk is on health safety and fundamental rights again. Conformity assessment, post-marketing monitoring, etc. is required. Health and safety, right? Impact on health and safety of the people. Transparency risk means, yes, there is a risk, but you have to be very transparent. If you are having a chatbot on your system or you are developing it and you are saying, hi, I am Ria, I am your assistant. If you don't say that, if you say, no, I am not Ria, I am saying, I am Puneet, your your customer support executive, please tell me what do you have and how can I help you? even though it's a RIA in the back end, but saying it in Pune, the impersonating and not transparent. And you are giving the answer because the language also in GPTs, etc. You see, they can communicate in a real world fashion, in a very real natural language. But at some point of time, if it has been detected that this person is not Puneet, actual Puneet, it's a chatbot, it's a transparency issue. You are not transparent to the your end consumer and customer. So you need to say that. And that's why you are getting transparency messages like, I am Ria, your assistant, and I'm a chatbot, I'm a machine, whatever. And also if you see very transparent disclaimer in ChatGPT that ChatGPT can make mistakes. Please verify the facts. Gemini can make mistakes. Please please double check important information. It's a very transparent way of saying it, right? And be critical. The deep fake, it's a deep fake. The name is very clear, deep fake. AI generated content. Can you just say that? AI generated content. There are so many problems coming in with the AI generated content and blackmailing and other things. It's a purely a risk, and it requires a mandatory uh, mandatory legal implications. Another is minimal risk. For example, spam filters, a recommendation system, which is not giving you any, not utilizing your personal data, sensitive data, and has no issues related to your. Uh, if you take a decision on it, there's no risk to your life or somebody's life. Okay. So high risk AI includes diagnostic, drug development, patient monitoring, because it has a very, very critical thing. Regulatory compliance is mandatory for deploying AI system that impacts patient health and safety. Human oversight, robust and bias mitigation in AI models. So ensure that. My point is that I know this is a lot of information here. How you navigate to this information? You being sitting into the IT company, for example, I do not know your background, but if I say, assume that you are sitting in an IT company, as in giving the example, and if you are an AI developer, if you are an AI developer, understanding all these act and other information, you will be very cautious giving to the client deliveries. You will explicitly say that, look, Puneet, you are my manager. I am telling you, this data is skewed for one specific aspect. Our model may not be completely accurate and may have some flavors of biasness. Statement like this showcase that you understand, you have a broader outlook to your development. You understand the system, and you are very responsible and very respectful developer in terms of AI domain. I will have a lot of respect being your manager because you are telling me upfront, right? Um, so that is very much appreciated to all the clients, I would say. And please do disclose this somewhere in your meeting, highlight it. And this is only possible when you know the areas of challenges, areas of how you can mitigate them, and rightly expose them, rightly putting them, documenting them into the final deliveries. Make sense? All right. So now coming to another interesting piece of information. The interesting piece is that government has said, okay, we will develop our own acts and other things, and you have to follow it. No matter where are you are using our people's data, you have to follow it. So companies are XYZ company is developing the AI model for the patient data of European Union, and they have developed a very nice model. and they are, kind of thinking to comply with the EU AI Act, which is correct. But how they can ensure that their models, their output, their deliveries are, compliant? It's not like they can self-certify. Certainly, they can do that, self-certify, okay, that our development is as per the compliance. If the checks happens, if there is any audit happens and it goes failed, you will lose a lot many things you can not even imagine. The very big thing is on the brand image. The whole brand image will go like this. Whole brand image, brand reputation, right? It's a brand reputation. It's a news like FDA has fined XYZ company because of the failure in compliance. It's like share market for the share for that company is falling like anything. They will ban you. They will say you cannot do business altogether in our zone, in our country, in our continent. What will happen? So, not going to that extent that people will say audit and then find the fault. It's our responsibility to have the framework ready at our end, so that we can ensure that our deliveries are as per the compliance for the audit, as per the laws, as per the requirement of the government. And also we will learn ourselves how can we become more effective, efficient in this competing business of developing AI based solutions to the world, to the patients, right? It's a privilege being so capable that we are developing AI model for patient data for the patient. We are touching so many human lives. It's absolutely a great pleasure. But if we do it correctly, if we really do it correctly with proper understanding and with a proper confidence that yes, whatever we are doing is correct and should touch the life, help people live longer, better, healthier. So people said that countries have developed their own AI, responsible AI frameworks called governance framework. Basically, you go to Accenture, you go to Infosys, you go to TCS, you go to IBM, you go to Microsoft, you go to Google, you just name the company. Any big company, they have their own establishing their own framework, and you become the front runner, understanding the responsible AI framework. Responsible and trustworthy AI framework for the companies. You can do that. Given that, you should understand um, you can understand these requirements. Based on that, based on the nature of the business of the company, you can do that. It's a very, very good profession. You should look into it if you really like this field. So, what are those principles? There are 7 pillars, and many sometimes have 5 pillars, 6 pillars, 7 pillars, 10 pillars, etc. But in a typical setup, you will say they are responsible AI principles: trustworthiness, responsible, ethical, fair, explainable, transparent, and accountable. What does it mean? Means that the AI system should comply all these principles. When you are developing the model, it should be trustworthy. This is how you should read it. Your model should be trustworthy. Do you have a checklist of trustworthiness? You can create a checklist for a model that if the model is on AI, this is the checklist you should comply. If any of those are missing, we should do the human check and whether it will see and rate your model, and then the delivery should happen. So trustworthiness. AI system must earn trust through consistent, safe, and reliable performance. Safe. If you are doing development on, say, cloud, you are taking multi-step authentication to it. They must ensure that data is safe. If you are building a chatbot like solution, People should feel that their data should not be leaked by any prompt in any jailbreaking method. We call it as jailbreaking. Jailbreaking. You are breaking the jail. You are breaking the jail through a intelligent and cunning prompt, so that the system get excited and giving you the information, which it should not leak certain information. Responsible, clear accountability of the people who should be established and responsible for design impact of the AI system. Ethical, AI must respect human values, rights, dignity, their religious belief, etc. Every aspect should be covered. Fair, it should not be biased for any specific demography or population, race, gender, etc. Explainable, if your model is explainable, it is considered good. It is not considered as a black box. You ask GPT that um, today is very hot day in Noida, the place where I live. What could be the possible reason? It will give you the reasons. It will give you, my system is heating up. What could be the reasons? It will give you the reason. Whether it will have rain tomorrow, it will say yes, no. What would be the reason? It's giving you the reason, explainable. Transparent, process data models should be open to scrutiny and well documented. People can look into it. Not like, oh, that's a hidden code it's a hidden recipe I can give. No, no, no. Accountable, right? So responsibility and accountability, slightly different things. Organization must take, there may be multiple people responsible for the same thing, but there's only one person should be accountable. But take the responsibility of a guy. So on the on this ring, the inner ring, you are seeing the operational components, right? That happens across the outer components, which are RAI principles: transparent, accountable, trustworthiness, responsive, ethical, fair. So tools and technologies. So people are developing tools and technologies. They are monitoring their organization's roles and responsibilities they are creating. They are having operating models. They have risk and compliance. They have policy procedures, a lot of documentations for auditing and transparency purpose, etc. And that's why they are doing it. Now, if they are doing it, you can ask me, Puneet, you are saying so much about government is doing this and they have a lot of documents, they should do that. The companies are doing all those RAI governance things, tools developing, but where is the tangible thing? I mean, what I really do when I develop the model. This is what you really do when you develop the model. When you develop the model, you either build your own toolbox, a responsible AI toolbox, which is a very separate discussion altogether, or you use existing toolboxes to check all the set of RAI principles, right? What I mean is, you develop, for example, a model for chest X-ray, prediction of pneumonia versus SARS or coronavirus, right? And you want to really check whether it is really compliant with the responsible AI toolbox, responsible AI, trustworthy side. You can run any of those toolboxes, do the thorough study, and self-certify that yes, we identified certain issues raised by Microsoft Responsible AI Toolbox. We corrected those, build the model again. We saw there is a slight decline in the accuracy, which is reducing from, say, 98% to 95%. But we are good with that because our system is more responsible by design, and it's more responsible and trustworthy, because all the other informations have been maybe removed. We have used an ideal protocol, a standard protocol that should be followed, and many things like that. You can use more than one toolboxes also. But my point is that toolboxes are being created, have been created by the big companies. You can use them, install them, use them, and see whether your model really passed them or not, and then take actions accordingly, just to ensure that your development is really, really good, right? So this is a non-exhaustive list of certain four toolboxes, but there are many other toolboxes. Importantly, there are many companies which does provide that service that you to their client, that they have the models and solutions which they are not sure about, or they built earlier and they are not sure about their accuracy. In terms of accuracy means in terms of responsible and trustworthiness. So now you can have your responsibility that you can test those models against multiple toolboxes and provide them their outcomes and feedbacks and results, so that they can further take the actions. So as a practitioner, you will have a lot of information about ACT. You will have a lot of information about RAI principles. You understand the building of those operational component into the system. You also understand that there are toolboxes and toolkits available for checking the compliances for the responsible side of the AI. You know how to run them against a specific model. You provide that service to the company, and you are can also be AI practitioner or AI responsible AI practitioner. Now, another important point is what the companies are doing. So companies are building these toolkits, but they are not just doing it. Right? What do you think? Building this toolkit will comply all the things? No, you have to enforce it, right? You need to ensure that all your workforce enforce or see and use every bit of it. Ensure the compliance. It has to be enforced. So what the companies are doing? So first is company is doing the establishing the AI governance framework, the framework like that. This is the framework. This kind of framework the companies are building. Then what they are doing, they are making the workforce aware. Not everybody is like you who got this access to this session, right? They have not having a lot of information about what we discussed now. So they are making their workforce aware about it. And then third thing, what they are doing is they are building their toolkits and technical enablers for responsible AI. It means they are building their own. For example, you are working on XYZ company. So XYZ company was not having any responsible AI toolbox or toolkit. Client has asked them, can you have given me the delivery. Can you build the AI? Can you run it for the toolbox? Yeah, you can say yes. We have two options. One is we can use the toolboxes which are already available, or we can build our own toolbox, because we see there's a lot of improvement we can do, right? So building the toolboxes, ensure that deliveries are complied with the governance standard. So that's a governance standard you have set it up. Whether deliveries are making all this or not, that's another thing. Monitor, iterate, and improve continuously. It's not like the model, the toolbox you had developed now will be applicable after 12 months. No, dear, it doesn't work that way. You need to further improve it, optimize the language, understand the laws and regulation. Accordingly, you need to act. Stakeholders and ethical AI decision making, you should say to the client that this is what we have done in your delivery. We have made your delivery run through the toolbox and ensure that it passes all the checks, mandatory checks or required checks. Wherever there are biasness, flaws, you highlight those things so that clients should take the consideration of the possible harm that the model can really do. And the companies are also doing chief responsible AI, filling the chief responsible AI officer positions to champion all these best practices and present their opinion into the world, right? Into the system, which is um, kind of point of view into the other for the other industries. So a very typical, or I can say is a very illustrative, very illustrative representation of the organization chart, which represents a chief RAI officer in a very simplistic fashion is represented here. So chief RAI officer reports to the CEO, and within that there are AI ethics and compliance lead, governance program lead, AI risk and audit lead, which are reporting to RAI officer. Each one of them has their own team. You can lead at any places like this, or maybe other places which are not highlighted. So there comes a legal and regulatory team as well. Those who are having a law degree understand the AI and machine and corporate law, etc. They are very also very successful in this one. Ethics champions, security and privacy people who understand the data, how the data has to be stored as per the laws and act. Now you can understand if I say laws and act, where the data has to be stored, processed and maintained, retention, etc. Then you have a clinical and medical ethics advisor, tech implementation experts, and operational audit, external audit partners and options. Is it an optional position? If someone asks you the consulting business, you can audit that part. So this is all possible because you have a much of massive information how these things work. I see a very bright future in responsible AI as a practitioner, and I want to highlight that there are many good courses available on Coursera and any other places. You will see some of them are free of cost as well. You can get certificates. There are some universities which have a very good certification programs, many times free of cost as well. So please have a look in those, and I see you can really do well if you start early. You can become a pioneer into this field. There are certain vocabulary items just in case you want to see it. You can do it. Now, let me know if you have any questions before I move a specific case study. Even if you don't have it now, that's also fine, because after this case study, maybe we'll have a one session again. Just now also we'll have discussion on what questions that you may have. It's a good time to utilize this in case you have any questions. I want to highlight this case study, which is related to the pulse oximetry, and you see how this has been identified. And it's a possible, issues related to it. We discussed that oximeter is, pulse oximeter is a very fundamental, very basic things just to check the oxygen saturation in the blood. And it works really good. Uh, Basically in all the individuals ideally, but it was identified later that it was originally tested, when it was developed, was originally tested on light skinned individuals, white or less less dark skin individual, and that's why it was pretty much accurate. But in some cases, when in a hospital setting, it has been seen that the the dark skinned people, when use oximeter, they were also almost always getting a lesser, um or you can get the it was giving you it was giving a more oxygen saturation than it was actually present, right? So that was the issue. So if you see, there are two set of population, white patients and the black patients. In one of those, you see on the x axis you have saturation by pulse oximetry, And this is the real saturation which is done by arterial oxygen saturation. It means that's the correct data. And this should be the correct data based on oximeter, but the difference you see which is coming in. Inconsistently in all the cases, as you see, the black patients were getting a lower value compared to the white patients, right? That's the thing. That's a consistent thing. Another thing is that it was always giving low value compared to the arterial oxygen saturation, which the 88 here is the threshold which below which is said that it is a low saturation is required some supply of oxygen, etc., and needs a treatment. Since this was happening consistently for dark-skinned people, it raises eyebrows, and that people have identified. And in UC Michigan, 178 hospitals compared this one with the direct blood oxygen reading in black and white patients. It has been seen that in black patients, a 3x higher rate of occult hypoxemia means a silent hypoxemia. It is not giving the right measurements. It's always giving the measurements which is a wrong reading and dangerously low oxygen level not detected by the device, right? In 11 to 17% of the people or black patients were giving this wrong reading. White patients were giving wrong reading from 3.6 to 6.2%. So only lesser number of people were getting, white patients were getting wrong reading, but more number of black patients, because when the device was tested, built, it was not taking the diversity of the population. It was not observed properly that in dark skinned people, it may provide a wrong reading. And that's why it is getting undetected hypoxemia and delayed treatment, especially in critical during COVID-19, right? Um, and it has to be tested on the diverse population. So with this, I want to conclude the session and wanted to thank you. This, but another one, sorry, since I have one more thing and we have time, I want to highlight one dummy data that I that I have it for the patient. Let me know if you can see my screen, the Excel file. Can you see the Excel file, the dummy data? All right, I think you should be able to see it. So this is information called PII. I just wanted to ask you, what are the information may not be required in the processing of the data and should be removed altogether from the data? So clearly, email information, phone number, address, race, you cannot remove. It should be required for certain aspect of it. Uh, Gender may be required at certain point of time. Age is important for the analysis as well. Name, etc. Name may not be, certainly not required. So all those things can be removed as part of the PII information, personal identifiable information, and should be avoided into the system. With this, I wanted to thank you for all your attention and this session. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. I see Pranjul also joined. Hello, Pranjul.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah, let me know if you have any question. Did you follow the session? Did you have any questions? or any other questions related to AI in pharma, life sciences that you want to pursue and I can help you?
No, sir, I don't have any question.
Yeah. Okay. Shubham, Vishal, do you have any questions? All right, I think recording will be available to you from the portal. But thank you very much for your attention, and do let me know if I can be of any help to you in AI in life sciences or in a similar field. For that, thank you very much. Have a very good rest of your day. Happy weekend, and looking forward for your another productive session. Just in case you have, do write questions to learn to upgrade team so that they can reach out to me. Shubham, you wanted to say something?
No, sir.
I was thinking to ask you whether you followed the session, whether you liked it, whether um, is there any question that you have or follow up on the session? Is there any new learning you have made it today? Did you learn something new today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Glad to know. This is a great field. It requires little bit of reading, understanding, and the some bit of mentorship certainly at certain point of time. But all you will get it. It's just like you need to be consistent, and you know what to do, where to do. So that is already given in the material. So I hope you will be able to do that. But thank you very much. I see Hiba has also joined. Hello, Hiba. Hello, Hiba. I think Hiba just joined, so um, some maybe technical difficulties. But thank you very much, everyone. I enjoyed working with you here with the session, and I look forward if just in case you have any questions. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.